Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, episode 126. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and
This is Steve.
what's up, Steve?
Well, same old, brother. Just
Yeah, man.
recouping and recovering from a long weekend of hard labor.
Yeah, I saw you were down there on the farm doing some work.
Yeah, well, decided this year that we're going to dive in head first and make this property worthwhile. You know, kind of stupid to have 100 acres that you're not working to build better and run around the country and do stuff. So kind of readjusting everything, and it's the goal this year to set that up and pull some deer off it this year.
It's the way to go, man. You've been putting in a lot of time and effort, and it'll all pay off in the end.
Yeah, tell my back that.
You know, the sweat equity, it's totally worth it, dude. I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
When you got good food plot, I do miss hunting over well-groomed food plots and the success that comes from them.
What? Just give me time and patience, man. I'll get you there.
Yeah. Up until a couple of years ago, living with Caddy Cowboy, he always had the greatest food plots around, and the hunting was great. I mean, Michelle was able to shoot one of her first deer off of it, and there was always deer there, man. Like if you wanted a consistent deer, you go up there and shoot it. So
Yep.
I can't wait to see what you've built down there and see the success that comes from it.
It's coming along, but 100 acres is a lot of property developed quick, so we're doing it a block at a time and a piece and a step at a time, and it's going to be sweet. 3 years from
That's
now,
awesome.
It's going to be money.
Did you find any sheds while you were down there?
We looked our asses off, found a lot of good runs, saw a lot of good stuff, didn't find a single
Yep.
shed, got home, and today the trail cameras popped up, and we had bleeding nubs coming off of a couple of deer walking through the property. It's like, man, we missed it by 3 days.
Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, everybody across the board, it seems that guys have all starting to see sheds that are starting to hit the ground. I'm up to number 5 for the season. Got out this weekend. Went out and helped Caddy Cowboy take down a couple of tree stands. Actually, if a lot of you guys probably don't even know this, but Spy Point. If you have a 3G spy point, it's soon to not work.
Yes, you got to replace them.
Some of them will, some of them won't.
And it's not
because
just
they're all going to
it's
4G.
not just Spy Point. We had the same thing with our
Right.
Bushnells and all of our stealth cams. We had to update.
Oh,
So every camera company that run on 3G, you're going to
3G.
either have to update or replace.
yeah.
So,
So if they're 3G, they'll end up getting knocked off the thing. So we had to go out and steal some of the cameras. He's going to end up sending them back with Cousin Ed back to South Africa to use for regular cameras, and then they had
Nice.
given him some type of credit or whatever. So
yeah,
we're out there, me and Rue, and we ended up finding one little half of a 4-point, just a 2-point.
Hey,
Nice little
Bones
little
Bone,
2-point
man.
show. Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, that's one of the things with the dog training is that, when you're out there, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as she's finding something, some type of reward and having that type of scent. Like I found the shed, but I just worked her into a downwind and got her on it. I mean, she's not going to find every single one of them, and not every single shed that we find is one that she gets. But, I don't go in and touch them. I let her work into them and get them. I mean, that's just the best thing about it. And then, because if you put your human scent anywhere near it, she's not going to know,
Confuses it.
I mean, that's dog training in itself.
Yep.
You're never going to see me with an as it lays unless I'm by myself. That you got to work the dog into it and then reward her from it and then just keep moving on. But it is cool to find them when she is with me, because then it's just more chances of her getting, clicking in her head. She's still only 2
Absolutely.
years old. So I can't wait. And we were just talking about this before we had hit record, was moose sheds. It's gonna be like freaking June by the time I'm gonna be able to get up there. Keep seeing all the snow coming, and it's like, stop.
you have the month of August. Go.
Sucks, man. It does. And be like I don't want to leave in the middle of turkey season. I was hoping that they weren't gonna have any snow and then leave early. But speaking of snow, it's supposed to snow this weekend here, and I'm kind of pissed about it because we have the local Springfield Sportsman Show at the Big E Convention Center here this coming up weekend. I'm not sure that my Honda Civic is going to make it all the way up there. Is one of the things I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah.
If you guys are bored and have nothing to do, come and visit the Outdoor Drive has a booth, booth number 312. It's right next to Circle Tackle. It's kind of a crazy thing, but we ended up getting a booth there. So really excited for it. Come and check it out. I'm actually going to have the Ohio deer with me, which is kind of excited. I know you guys are sick and tired of seeing pictures of it and hearing about it, but I'm still kind of excited. So
that's what it's about. Well, you have to think about it. That's an anchor point of the show. That was going back to when we started this and running through on our first year out of state, running into Ohio, first big deer down, first good camera setups, first big show, our first pop on YouTube. That buck means a hell of a lot more than just, hey, I like it. I mean, that it's a staple to the show. Staple.
Yeah, it really is. It is. And it's not just me that killed that deer. It was everybody that was in camp. I mean, it was a part of everybody. Yeah, it wasn't just me. It was a team effort.
That story was
not just my deer.
That was days and days and days of looking and following and tracking and figuring it out and try this over here and let's try this over there. And
there's a lot of learning that went into it.
So that's what I'm saying is I don't care if anyone's bored and sick and tired of seeing it. That deer's a big part of the show, whether anyone likes it or not. So quit complaining and go see it for yourself.
Nobody was complaining. I just kind of started to feel bad that there was pictures of it every single week.
If anyone's tired of seeing it, they need to go see this deer in person because pictures do not do that deer justice. It does not.
It's true.
You have to see it.
It's crazy because when I had showed up, Chris had called me about it. He's like, dude, this deer is huge. And he's like, everything about it is big. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, the form is giant because it's like a 26 or 27 inch neck on it. I mean, it carries itself all the way through the shoulders. I mean, it's just absolutely giant.
Oh, I remember. I had to help drag it out.
Giant. Yeah. He's like, it doesn't know justice, bro. Like, honestly, I think it actually takes away from the rack because it's such a big bodied deer. Like, and he stretched it to its potential.
And that's one thing I want to point out why I said you have to see this deer. You see the pictures, you don't realize how big a rack that is because the body is so big.
So big. It's nuts.
It's insane.
It definitely is. So I will be up there this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then next weekend is the Iowa Deer Classic. We'll also be there in Iowa. Super excited to go out there, being in the Midwest. Sadly, Steven won't be able to join us on that trip. He decided to buy seeds instead, which I don't blame him one bit. I am not saying that in negative annotation.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I want nothing more. You don't know how bad, especially after today's conversation, how bad I want to be there.
I know.
But yeah, it was one of those things that I had to sit back and go, okay, this either gets done now and we have things for the fall. And I know it's not you. I'm just saying so everyone knows I'm not bailing on this lightly. It was
I know.
Food plots and everything established to hunt this fall or not. And I had to make a split decision.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. There really isn't. So if you guys are going to be at either show, I will be there. You're more than welcome to come and hang out, say hello.
Now, I will say, if anyone wants to take pity on me and buy a plane ticket, I'm in.
This is true. This is true, man. Well, why don't we? Maybe our sponsors. Let's give them a rip off real quick. Maybe one of them will help you out. Let me go down the old list here.
Run them
through it. All right. First off, let's start off with Rack Bracket, man. Rack Bracket, use the promo code Outdoor Drive 10. Save yourself 10%. I see in all these deadheads. Go and get yourself a Rack Bracket. It is the most sturdy, well-built Euro bracket on the face of the earth. It's the only one. You can do so much with it. Probably, it's my favorite. It's the only thing that's going to be a Euro is going to be hung on here. In my studio. Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. Still working on the mouth calls. If you guys haven't gone over there, go over there and check them out. The Ridge Runner, there's going to be a cedar one that's being built actually as we speak and will be released for this turkey season. As always, the pot calls, the outdoor series. There's going to be a little change. We got something really cool coming out for those, so stay tuned to that. Check them out on all social media platforms. You do not want to miss out. New Era Archery, newairarchery.com, the home of the Zeus Broadheads, smashing shoulders and breaking hearts since the beginning of time. Zeus Broadheads. Latitude's outdoors. Guys, keep your eyes peeled on this. I know that we're getting to that time before the deer season starts. Latitude has a huge line of stuff coming out, platform sticks, so on and so forth. So make sure you check them out, latitudeoutdoors.com. They are the home of the Method 2 and the Classic 2. It's a 2-part panel on the Method 2. Novix Outdoors, promo code Outdoor Drive 15. Save yourself 15%. They make the mini sticks. You guys have all seen our mods on that one. Also, they make a bunch of really good, the Hilo, which is probably the one that'll be running for this season. The stand there. Gator Outdoors, GatorOutdoors.com. Use promo code Outdoor Drive 25. Gator Outdoors, be the reason. We did send in the list for the squirrel competition, just waiting on prints. I know it's kind of a long run, but guys, we will be getting your t-shirts out to you. I promise you. We got to come up with a little bit better of a system on that, but I definitely will have them, and I promise you they will be out shipped soon. Going into competitions really quick, the coyote competition is out. And it has started. We're going to run it a little bit longer. I think it's a 2-month period on this one. It's going to be kind of cool. We have the biggest, the smallest, and the prettiest. Videos have to be submitted onto the Outdoor Drive page from tip to tail. And the video has to of you measuring the coyote to get in on that one. Right now we have Nor'easter Game Calls. They gave a bunch of calls. I'll post those things up. And then also Talk About It Outdoors also donated a prize package for the prettiest coyote so far. So the more prizes will start to come in. Chelsea Pebbles, she also donated a drag. So there's a lot of prizes that'll be coming in as the thing goes on, and I'll announce them as they come. But get out there, kill them things, them fawn killers, and we'll see you guys over on the Outdoor Drive page.
Definitely, man. And let me tell them, talk about it, boys. They've been getting it on them dogs.
Yeah,
they're
Alex just
making
came
me
back
jealous.
from East Tennessee. He was out in East Tennessee. He didn't go to the NWTF convention. He went to East Tennessee and was actually coyote hunting. So I didn't know he was that big of a coyote hunter, but I do now.
Yeah, I'm super impressed. So keep it up, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of buddies, why don't we tune on into Mike Salter?
I think you're on to something there, and let's just fire it off. Bringing you the news for the cruise is our good buddy Mike Salter. Take it away, Mike.
Hey everyone, we're going to start this one off this week with a couple big-time poaching cases. The first one in Montana, where a hunter has received a lifetime ban on hunting and trapping. Shiloh Berry pleaded guilty to several charges stemming from poaching a trophy moose in 2019. Not only did he poach the trophy moose, but he only took the head and left the rest to rot. So the punishment for the crimes are a lifetime ban on hunting and trapping in Montana, a 3-year suspension of fishing privileges, a suspended 5-year prison sentence, and $12,100 in fines. So it's nice to see the steep penalties in such a case, but many say it's still not enough and that a harsher sentence should have been given, which I have to tend to agree based solely on the cost of a moose hunt in Montana alone. So now to Michigan, where some even harsher penalties for poaching have been given out. Justin Ernst pleaded guilty to illegally taking 9 trophy bucks last year. As part of his plea deal, Ernst was given a lifetime hunting revocation, ordered to pay $25,000 in reimbursement, forfeited all seized items, and will be serving 18 months to 5 years in prison for the violations. A punishment well-fitting of the crimes, and it's nice to see some harsh penalties being enforced for poaching across the country instead of just the slap on the wrist that we typically see. So now to Ohio. and a couple of additional proposed changes to the hunting regulations. The biggest one is a proposed change in the definition of a crossbow, which will remove the reference to transverse limbs and requirement for stock length of 25 inches. The new definition will still require crossbows be equipped with limbs and a shoulder mount stock, but will now allow for newer designs that are shorter and have different limb configurations. The DNR is also proposing to remove restrictions for taking a wild animal with concealed firearms to allow hunters to carry and hunt with a legally concealed firearm. Comments can be submitted on these proposals and several others through March 16th through Ohio DNR's webpage. Now to Vermont and possible increased moose hunting opportunities in the Northeast Kingdom. Vermont Fish and Wildlife has proposed issuing 100 moose permits in Wildlife Management Unit E in the northeast corner of the state. These permits are being proposed in order to reduce the impact of winter ticks on the moose population. The goal is to reduce the number of moose and thereby reduce the abundance and impact of winter ticks and improve the health of the moose in the unit. Moose densities in WMUE are still over the one moose per square mile target and significantly higher than any other part of the state. The department plans to issue 60 either sex moose tags and 40 antlerless tags for the 2022 season. The proposal does mirror the permits allotted for the 2021 season, and the department is accepting comments on this proposal through March 31st by emailing anr.fwpubliccomment@vermont.gov or by leaving a voicemail at 802-828-7498. So now for a couple fishing records. First to Texas, where Randy Howell broke the Bass Pro Tour Big Bass record with a 10-pound, 11-ounce bass caught in Caney Creek Reservoir. Then, if that wasn't enough, the Alabama Pro broke his own record not 24 hours later with a massive 12-pound, 14-ounce bass on Bussy Break Reservoir. That 12-pound, 14-ounce fish also set a new lake record. So, congratulations to Howell on 3 records in a 24-hour span. Now to North Carolina, where Todd Spangler broke one of the state's oldest fishing records, and he did it with a rod he made himself. Spangler caught a 12-pound, 8-ounce speckled trout in the lower Neuse River. The massive trout bested the previous record of 12 pounds, 4 ounces, which was caught off Wrightsville Beach in 1961. So congrats to Spangler on a trophy and besting a 61-year-old record. With that, as always, if you have any news, please send it along. You can reach out to me at Mike Salter on Facebook or bearded_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
As always, Mike, doing the news for your cruise. Guys, if you guys have any news, anything that comes up or has been going on, I know it's that time of year where laws and regulations and all these things come and pop up. Send them over to Mike Salter, beardedbowhunter21 on Instagram or Mike Salter on Facebook, or you can even send it out to the Outdoor Drive Podcast at gmail.com, and we will make sure to get it on over to him. So thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. What do you think, buddy? Should we go and see our good buddy from the Outdoor Call Radio, Mr. Dan Young?
I think we should.
Dan.
A lot of you guys know the name, and if you don't, you will soon. So
You're a fool if you don't.
Stay tuned, tune in, and in that case, tune in to that as well, especially if you like what we're doing, because he's doing a lot of it 24/7, 365.
All right, we're back on the phone with Dan the Man. I want to introduce you guys to a really good friend of ours, Outdoors Dan. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, hola, amigos.
What's happening, brother?
I'm just sitting here in the office and thinking about turkeys.
You know, that's a great thing because I'm thinking about turkeys too.
Yeah, I got my crappie hat on. I'm thinking walleye, crappie, and turkey. That's going to sustain me for the next 12 weeks.
You do something really special with the turkeys, though. Decapping, man. That is a skill in itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Of all the things that I get to bow hunt every year, turkeys has always been one of my favorites. And the reason is it took me forever to get good at actually calling them in. And they made an idiot out of me so many times. And after about 3 or 4 seasons, and I started learning about tones and cadences and when to call, when not to call. And I always tell everybody on the radio shows, I'm living proof that anybody can kill a turkey. And so when they come in, I take exceptional pleasure in just whacking them in the head. You know, a little payback time. Yeah.
But the thing, you got to get them pretty close when you're decapping, no?
10 to 12 yards, yeah.
That's skill. That's definitely skill. Well, Dan, why don't we dive into it? Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Well, my name's Dan Young, but my radio and TV name's been Outdoors Dan for the last 25 years. I grew up in a small town in Washington, Missouri, which is about 40 minutes west of St. Louis. And that's where I fell in love with the outdoors. Grew up on a non-working farm, and my mom used to let me go fishing after school every day, and then my aunt, uncle would come out, and my uncle and my dad and I would go squirrel hunting. And I just fell in love with it from the time I was old enough to hold a shotgun and a rod and reel, and just go from there. And I didn't really get into the bow hunting or the big game hunting until I was probably in my mid-30s. And it ruined me. I fell in love. First time I put a compound bow, I can still remember the first time I held a compound bow. It was a Bear. Gosh, I can't remember the model of it, but it was a Bear bow that a friend of mine got at Target, which is a retail store in the Midwest. Yeah, you guys got Targets out there?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
okay.
Yep.
Or, I'm sorry, Target.
Target, yeah.
If you want to church it up a little.
Yeah, but I got that bow, and it was so long ago. We had 3 steel pins, and we thought we were really high tech when we would dip them in fluorescent paint so we could see the pins. You know, we thought that was just the bomb. And I don't know, man. It ruined me, to be honest with you, because the moment I shot my first few flights of arrows, that's all I wanted to do was just figure out a way to make a living in the outdoors, and it all kind of worked out.
So, what do you think I want to ask this. What do you think your fondest memory was when you started bow hunting?
Gosh, I can still remember my first deer I shot. That was a friend of mine and I went down to St. James, Missouri, which is like it's southwestern Missouri, but really, really cool place to go. And we got in, put a couple ladder stands in, and we just started hunting. And then the second day, I had a really nice little scrub buck come in, and he finally came in and gave me a 22-yard shot. And I was shooting fingers back then. Back in the Flintstone days of my hunting career, we had 44-inch bows, long bows, and steel cables. And I shot 3 fingers. I shot 3 fingers below the knock, and that buck came in, and it all worked out. And my friend got to see him shoot my first deer, and I thought that was a pretty cool memory. And unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago.
Sorry
and
to hear that.
I was too. He died real young, but that's the kind of stuff you remember. It's with me, I've been doing this for 25 years as a living, for a profession now, and I've never ever wanted to be the best, and I tell everybody that on the shows. I'm just an average guy that loves to hunt and fish, and it just it's been a pretty fun ride so far.
So then you kind of made a move after you lived in Missouri, and you moved to the Midwest. What was the reason for all that?
Well, I got into radio finally back in '97. I got a job at a real small radio station, and I got a job doing sales. And I just, like I said, I just was ate up with the archery. I was just going out shooting 3D tournaments a weekend. I go shoot one, then I go to another one and shoot another one. And I finally just talked to Boston. I said, listen, I want to do an outdoor show. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an hour if you can go get sponsors. So that next 10, 12 days, I went out and I just bugged a whole bunch of vendors until I finally had enough sponsors to do a show. And I did that for about a year. And then I got hired by another station to do station management and to keep doing the outdoor show. And then I was doing that at a Christian station, and I did a chair. My dad passed away in 1998. He was 58 years old, died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So my dad got to see me finally realize my dream, of making the outdoors a career. And I started a charity for my dad, and we had some of the ex-Cardinal baseball players come out. We did a big outdoor day at a park. We did a fishing. Kenny Reitz and some of the other guys from the Cardinals ambassadors came out, and we had a whole bunch of people come out. It was a pretty big deal. We raised a lot of money, and long story short, the American Cancer Society got all the proceeds for that. And in doing that, I got to meet some people at a major market station. And when I met them, I got hired on in St. Louis at a big station, and I got to do an afternoon drive show, just do an Outdoors Dan report for like 5-10 minutes during like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And it just took off for me. And I was there for a few years, and one of the guys that ran the sports department or was in the sports department moved back to Des Moines. He started a brand new sports station in Des Moines, and he goes, "Hey, you got to come up here. The hunting's phenomenal." And I'd always heard how good Iowa hunting was, right? And it's one of the tougher states to get a non-resident tag in. So my wife was actually from Des Moines, so it kind of just worked out, and they hired me over the phone, and I moved up to Des Moines 21 years ago, and it just went crazy. The show took off, and I started doing TV news. I started doing an Outdoors Dan segment on a CBS affiliate in Des Moines. I did that for like 6 years, and then out of that, the TV show got started, and that was called Outdoors Traditions. And my buddy Jeff and I did Outdoors Traditions. We were on the air for 20 years on TV.
Wow.
So the radio shows have been on for 25 years, and I had a good 20-year run on TV, and mediocrity at its best, I always like to say.
Wow, that's so cool. So you kind of watched the whole evolution of the TV network.
Yeah, when I started, Trev, there really wasn't a lot of shows. There was probably a dozen shows, and that was it. The outdoor industry when I got going was a real tight-knit, closed, small family. And I got in at the right time, to be honest with you, because there were so many mom and pops that owned businesses. You could go to ATA, or you could call them up on the phone and actually get a hold of somebody and have a conversation, and you could start a relationship. And one of the things I'm probably most proud of everything I've done in my career is I usually keep about 90 to 95% of my partners every year. And they've been with me. A lot of my partners have been with me for 16, 17, 18 years.
Wow. That's incredible. That just means you're a good guy, Dan.
Well, I learned something a long time ago. My dad was in sales, and he told me it was easier to keep the people you have happy than go look for new people all the time. And that stuck with me, and it served me pretty well, guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's so cool to watch you kind of grow, because now you're with Respect the Game. So you're still in the TV thing.
Well, I'm still doing TV. I tell you what, a lot of people don't understand how much work it is to host, produce, and we bow hunted everything on the show. We were talking about turkey hunting. I arrowed my 90th turkey last season.
Congratulations.
With a bow. And I'm more proud of that than I am my Pope and Young bucks, or I don't get me wrong, I love my bucks, my whitetails, but them turkeys just drive me nuts. They used to drive me nuts, man. They'd have me talking to myself. What, muttering, what am I doing wrong?
Absolutely.
So when it all works out, it just means so much more to me. But I can't believe I've actually got 90 under my belt, and I'm hoping before I'm done, I get 130, 140 birds with my bow. That would be pretty cool.
What do you think is your favorite state to hunt for turkeys?
Well, I love Iowa, Missouri, Kansas. Kansas is one of my favorite because I've got some really good buddies down there, down in the central part of Kansas. And when I met those guys on a bear hunt, that bear that's right behind me there, I shot that up in Minnesota, and I met those guys on a bear hunt right real close to there. And we just started talking, and they started showing me all these pictures of these double drop tine whitetails. And it's like this, they had tons of them. And it's like, I'm just sitting there like, it's like, I've never even seen a double drop tine. And these guys have got them all. And we just became really good buddies, and they invited me to come down. And I've been hunting down there with them for probably close to 16, 17 years. And then they 2 or 3 years after I started hunting, they got an outfitting business going. And I mean, they do a great job. Triple H Outfitters.
Oh yeah.
You hear Philip Vanderpool, Larry McCoy and I, we all hunt down there with them. I got Philip down there a long time ago, and now I can't get him out of there. But it's really probably one of my favorite places to go. And one of the memories I'll always carry with me, this was pretty cool. When the first year I hunted there, I had over 65, 70 toms fly over my blind in the morning. There was so many turkeys down there because nobody really messed with them. And to have 60 or 70 toms in a big winter wheat field with there had to have been over 120 birds in the field. It was the coolest thing I ever saw in my life. I'll never forget that. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
And what time of the year was that, Dan?
In April.
Oh, it was. So it was right around hunt. So you were down there turkey hunting at the time, or?
I used to go down every spring, and in the fall, they would have anywhere from 275 to 300 birds in a flock in the winter, all flocked together.
Holy cow.
And we'd go down there and we'd shoot 3 or 4 hens every year because they had so many birds. We called it the getting even season because we'd go shoot a couple hens, right?
I like it.
But that's changed too, guys, because the last 3 or 4 years, turkey populations have really struggled the last probably 3 to 5 years. I don't know how it is on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's the
Similar.
same.
Yeah, but I mean, our bird populations aren't what they were 20 years ago.
What do you think that adds to a lot of that? Do you think that it's because they're ground nesting and all the wetness, or do you think that it has to do with ground predators?
Well, it's a combination of both. You got spring rains, you got the flooding issue, loss of habitat. The number one threat to the hunting industry is not anti-hunting; it's the loss of habitat. People every year are losing ground that they used to be able to go and hunt. They get bought out, turn into subdivisions, developments, and that's really the number one threat to hunting. But as far as between the loss of habitat, our spring rains, predation, with the price of furs dropping as much as it has the last several years, there's not as many people out there running trap lines. So you got all the nest robbers, the raccoons, the skunks, the possum, the squirrels, crows, you got snakes. I mean, all of those take a pretty good toll on a turkey clutch. A turkey historically, when they lay their eggs, you're looking at 9 to 11 eggs in a nest or clutch, and they're lucky to get 1 or 2 poults that actually survive through that.
Yeah, and they can. So one of the things that I learned too with them is that they can actually have two clutches. So if they lose the first one, they can have a second clutch. But
Right.
with everything going on, it's so tough. And like you said, you see hens with, like you said, 1 or 2, 3.
Yeah, that's the average now. And what they'll do, Trev, I've talked to so many biologists over the years. A hen will keep trying to nest until she has a successful clutch. But every time that she renests, the amount of eggs goes down dramatically.
So she can do it more than twice. I was under the impression it was only twice.
She's going to keep trying to re-nest until she has a successful hatch.
Okay.
But instead of 10 to 12, you might be down to 1 or 2 eggs before, she's on her 3rd or 4th attempt.
Mm-hmm.
They're resilient animals. They're going to try and repopulate as much as they can. So
it's crazy because like here, they didn't, growing up, I think just when I was able to hunt here, they had just started to have a turkey season. I mean, we didn't have one for the longest time, and they had taken them in from Maine and they had relocated them here. And we had a really good population. But one of the things that they did here was we can shoot 5 birds here.
Yeah.
And I think it's just asinine, honestly.
Well, I'm sure that's going to change. I hope it doesn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if the biologists, they keep a close eye on that. So hopefully they're seeing what's going on. But yeah, Larry and Ryan and Paul, I got to the point where I was really tired of hosting and producing. We got on a tangent. See,
Yeah.
you're as bad as me. See, I'll be on the radio show and I'll be talking, and then somebody will ask me something, and the next thing I know, I'm talking about what kind of Pop-Tarts I like.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally getting away from the cane. But I retired Outdoors Traditions TV after 20 years, and because I had an opportunity to go work with Larry McCoy and Ryan Huser and Paul Biggs at Respect the Game TV. And my shows were all regional. So we were on Fox Sports Midwest, and we ran it on the Fox affiliate in Iowa. But to be on the Sportsman's Channel with quality of guys like Larry, Ryan, and Paul, this is going into my third season now with those guys, and it's actually fun to do it again. And I know that sounds stupid, but when you make your job or your hobby your job, you're putting there's a lot of pressure that goes with that. And I don't have all that pressure on me anymore because there's 4 of us instead of two of us trying to get shows done.
And it's got to be fun. I mean, you're working with Larry Mack. I mean, he's
well, yeah. I mean, if you can spend the day with a Larry Mack attack, I mean, what's not to love, right?
That's right.
That's a handful in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how did this season unveil for you? You had a pretty good season, or what?
I had one of the best, worst seasons a guy could ever have.
I like that.
Why is that?
Well, I'll tell you, I was I went to Montana. I was out at Trophies Plus Outfitters, and I was out getting after. I never had shot a mule deer before. Last year, I was blessed to get a really nice elk in Colorado, and I wanted to try and do a muley this year. So I went out and saw Mike and Esther Watkins out at Trophies Plus in Alzada, Montana. And I'd been out there before. I shot my antelope, a couple antelope, and I've got a really nice little whitetail behind me that I shot a long time ago out there. But I never got a chance at a mule deer. So I went out there, and my buddy Matt, who lives out there by you guys on the East Coast, he was kind enough to drive all the way from Pennsylvania to go out to Montana with me to help me film. That was a nice little drive.
That's a ride.
Yeah, that's my buddy from the Keystone Experience. Good guy. Did you guys hook up? Did you meet?
No, we didn't. No, I wish we did. No,
you got to get together. You guys would like each other. But we went out there, and long story short, had 2 days of great hunting. I tagged out on the second day, and got my very first mule deer in velvet, which was just awesome.
Wow,
so
cool.
that started the season so well. And then we went to Kansas, and I had 184. I'm going to say 180 plus whitetail come in, and I have not messed up a shot on a deer in years. I mean, it's probably been 15, 16 years. And I guess I was due because a deer came in. My heart was pumping, and yes, my heart still goes pumping, and I get excited. If that ever goes away, I'll quit.
Yep.
But I had that buck come in, and I'm sitting there trying to tap the stand. Ryan's dad, Kent, was there filming me from the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grabbing Kent's boot, going, big buck, big buck, big buck, and I'm grabbing my bow, and I mean the deer's 35, 40 yards coming in. And I'm going, big buck, big buck. And then I see him move the camera. So I go, okay. So I get my bow. I got my Elite Remedy. He comes in, and, and I'll be honest with you, I was doing that.
shaking.
But he came in straight to me. So I'm sitting there. He's at 32 yards, and I'm sitting there just waiting for him. I go, all you got to do is just turn sideways and give me a nice broadside or a cornerway shot. He never turns. So I'm sitting there it's taking forever and forever and forever. And finally he just starts turning and starts walking out. And he came in on a corner. So he's going to the corner. So I went to full draw on him, and I go, he's 41 yards right there. So I went ahead and I put my 40-yard pin at the top of his heart. And just as before he was going to get to where I couldn't shoot anymore, I went ahead and I let it go. And that arrow was just tracking. And right before the arrow hit him, he turned. And he turned out of the arrow. And instead of hitting him right at the heart, I ended up going right, like barely going to the brisket. And it's like I saw the arrow, hanging, and he took off, and we just looked at the footage, went back to camp, looked at the footage. I didn't want to push him, and I'm going, man, it looks like I got him in the heart, but the arrow never got into the cavity. And we went out the very first light the next morning, and we looked all day. And Larry and Ryan found blood really good. He went into an uncut milo field, and we looked for that deer. Yeah, we looked for that deer for 3 days, but he was fine. He made it, and he actually showed up back on camera like 10 days later. He was out there chasing does. So 180 plus inch deer. So I mean, it was awesome, and I'll be honest with you, I'm glad if everything that I could say, I'm just glad he made it through.
Right.
I would rather him not die from that shot and be okay than being out there suffering or not expiring somewhere that we couldn't find him. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he made it. So, but so that I didn't sleep for 3 days. That was horrible.
I don't know how you could 180 inch deer. I mean.
Yeah.
That's a once in a lifetime deer, if you ask me.
So there's strike one. So I'd get back to Iowa, and I'm sitting there self filming, and I got my DSD buck decoy out, and I see a nice buck coming in. He's crossing the creek, and he comes in, and he's coming through the uncut cornfield. Uncut cornfield, and he finally comes to the point, and right where the point is, that part of the field was cut. So I had my decoy out there at 30 yards, and I'm just sitting there, and he comes right in. He starts circling back towards my buck decoy, and I'm in a tower blind, and I got the camera on. I'm filming him. I'm making sure my white balance is right. I'm making sure I'm not soft on the clarity. Everything's in focus. I grab my bow. He's coming around. He's coming into the back end of the decoy. I had my Winsent unit running with my pure whitetail stuff in there, and he's smelling that, and he's getting all gomered up. He's starting to get like this sideways. I go grab my bow, and I look through the camera just before I go to full draw to make sure everything's okay, and I see something go like this. And well, what the heck was that? And I look up, my window had shut because it was windy. So I had to come out of full draw, grab the window, put the window back up, square my knock up real quick, go back to full draw again. I look over at the camera. I see it do it again. I go, you got to be kidding me. I come out of draw, pull the window up, and I go to full draw again. This time he's cornering away to me, and I go, I got you. And I just come up on him, and I go to the lower third, and I just let the release go. And I saw him do the same thing the buck did in Kansas. He turned like that.
No.
Yeah, and I did the same. Arrow went right through, and I looked. He was fine. I saw that deer 2 days later. So that was the last shot I got this year.
Jeez, I want to circle back on something, because it's something that I've noticed by watching a lot of RTG, is that you guys use a lot of decoys, and probably one of the only people that use decoys a lot.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, they're a great tool. If you're self-filming, it takes the deer attention off of you. So if you got to move the camera, or if you got to hit the ND filter real quick, or if you got whatever, that deer's he's not looking at you. He's looking at that buck. And I just love rattling and, grunting at him. And I tell you, Larry Mack's way better using them. And Larry Mack and Philip are probably two of the best bow hunters I know with decoy use. So I've learned a lot in the last 3 years by those guys.
Is there a scenario that it works better over another, or is there time of year, or
the week before Halloween, you get that buck decoy out there, and I'll use it all the way till the 1st of December when our bow season shuts down for shotgun. It just works. And I mean, think about it. How many times have you been sitting out in your stand and stuff, and after post rut, you start seeing one or two bucks running together? So if you got a buck decoy set up there in a food source in a corner or by a travel corridor, and a buck comes out, he's naturally going to get curious. They're such curious critters. He might just feed right into you and give you an opportunity. I just love hunting with them.
And so that time in late October, you're running them and you're smashing antlers and that whole pre-rut type thing, and just using it to your advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah. First, from October 18th, 19th, I'll take my rattling horns with me, and I'll just tickle them, when the time's here, just tickle, and I'll hit my grunt tube. And if I see a buck come in and it's in my shooting lane, or if it's not going to commit and come in, or if I see one off in the distance, I'll tickle those antlers. Just, they might get curious, come in, give me an opportunity. But I usually wait till about the 17th, 18th of October to start rattling.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah, I just had noticed that you guys had used them a ton, and I was like, you never really see a lot of other people running the decoys.
Yeah. Well, they work. I had several deer come right into them this year. I had one I probably should have shot. He was a really nice 9. He had 6 on one side and 3 on the other. And I didn't shoot him because I had him at 20 yards, and he was coming in all gomered, trying to smash the decoy. And I just filmed him abusing my decoy, but yeah, that's hunting. I mean, Larry calls me the deer watcher.
Really?
Larry's the killer. I'm the deer watcher. So
he just brings you along to scout out for you, and then he moves in and kills them.
I tell you what, Larry and Philip get to hunt on one of the leases I have here in Iowa. We all hunt on that together, and they've done good. They've tagged out 2 years in a row. So
Awesome.
whenever they have a tag, so
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
because they're non-residents, right? So it's
Right.
tough for them to
Yeah,
get tags.
yeah. So whenever they got a tag, I think Philip's got one and Larry's got one, and they've done good. So
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Hey, I really want to dive into this new project that you've kind of gone in, and obviously that's kind of really what this is kind of centralized around, because
I am so glad that you guys brought me on here to talk about the Outdoors Dan weight loss formula. It is astounding.
as being outdoorsmen and sportsmen, it is something that is needed. So we definitely want to dive into that. I think that
You
your
mean
protein shakes are phenomenal. So
we're out of shape until it's hunting season? Is that what you're pointing out? Because I agree. Nothing will remind you you're out of shape till you got to drag a deer out.
well, and having this new sponsorship with you with your weight loss program, we really appreciate it, honestly, Dan.
Yeah, trust me. The older you get, the worse it gets too, man. You look at a Twinkie, you gain 5 pounds. It's crazy. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm excited about the new network. Doing the radio show for 25 years, that's really been my favorite thing to do, because you get to, with TV, you're talking at people through it. You're talking to the camera. On radio, you get to have a conversation. And that's what I've always loved about that medium. I mean, I've got people that have been listening to me, God bless them, for a long, long time. And they'll email me and say, hey, you remember when you were doing deer call karaoke and all this other crazy stuff? And I said, yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. And that's really, the radio thing's always been my favorite. But, with your generation, terrestrial radio I can see some changes coming up, and people they're migrating over to the podcast side. They basically want to be able to listen on demand. They want to be able to take that with them, and they don't want to have to be tied to a car radio, or, they want to be able to take their iPhone or their tablet or Android or wherever they're at. If they want to listen to something, that's the way that the millennial, is it millennial still? Is it the millennials?
Yeah, you're still in the millennial area.
Well, see, I'm millennial, but then there's Gen Z. There's a million and other ones. So
That's the popular thing now. So
yeah, yeah, it's more so the millennial. Gen Z is still kind of the, I still like my radio in my car.
Yeah,
but I hate the way the radio works now, because you get 2 songs and 25 commercials, and it's just not what it used to be. The talk shows, you got to go on AM and wait until 11 o'clock at night to get a good radio show.
Well, that's because of the atmosphere. That AM signal forever at night.
Exactly.
So. Well, the way the technology has finally caught up to something I've been wanting to do for a long time. We basically I believe that I'm the first person in the industry to have their own 24/7, 365-day outdoor radio station. So the Outdoor Call Radio Network is nothing but hunting, fishing, cooking, camping content all through the week. It's all free. I reached out to a bunch of my friends like you guys that do podcast shows, and I went ahead and I programmed. I've got 3 to 4 shows playing every day. We give out prizes every week. We do the phrase that pays. I just picked up another show. I don't know if you guys heard Hank Shaw. Thursdays is our cooking show. We got Scotty Lasa from The Sporting Chef and Dead Meat off the Outdoor Channel.
Okay.
And then Hank Shaw is one of the best outdoor cookbook authors out there. Hunter, angler, gardener, cook. I mean, he's got some really good outdoor books. And Hank and Scotty have been headlining Thursdays doing all the cooking content. We just picked up another gentleman, Jonathan Odell, and Paul. They do a really good cooking outdoor show, and they just signed on today. So things are popping, and it's always going to be free for the listeners. I want this to be something that folks can go gravitate to when they're in the blind or if they're in the truck. If you're out there fishing and you don't want to hear the nonsense going on with what's going on in our country. You want to hear something about hunting, fishing, or outdoor cooking. You want to hear something that's going to make you happy instead of upset you. And that's what inspired the Outdoor Call Radio. I'm going to be able to do that the rest of my life, hopefully. And I can program it. I can do whatever we want. I actually put a new live show on there on Wednesdays called the Wednesday Drive. So it's Andrew and myself doing a new show from 5 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then eventually I'm going to pull my Iowa show off of ESPN, and we'll be on Saturday morning 7 to 9 on the Outdoor Call radio app. And the beauty of that is it's available in 120 countries. And I can go live. If I wanted to do a live show 7 days a week, I have the availability to do that because I control the network.
Right.
And the cool thing is that it's an app, so it's its own platform.
Yeah, it's its own platform. Yeah.
If you have Android, if you have Apple, you can get it anywhere. Don't
forget about Alexa.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Alexa. That's even better.
If you go, hey Alexa, play the Outdoor Call radio app, she's going to go, well, I will, you big stud muffin.
There you go.
Alexa loves the outdoors, man. She thinks it's sexy.
She is. She's into it, right?
Absolutely.
And we do want to thank you, seriously thank you for having us on board with that and being a part of that.
Oh, no, I need to thank you guys. I mean, I could honestly, it'd be hard for me to do that if it wasn't for you guys and the guys from Keystone Experience. And we're doing brand new shows that have never been done before. I got Nathan Brooks and Darren Christianberry, two of the most respected indoor 3D shooters out there. We do a show every Monday called The Hunting for X's. I've got the guys from Spurs Up Calls out of Mississippi doing a show called Thunder at Daybreak. I got Fred and Michelle Eichler have been buddies of mine for 25 years. Michelle, when her family owned Muzzy Broadheads, she was my second sponsor I ever had. It was Matthews and Muzzy. Those were my first two sponsors, and I'll always be grateful. And when her and Fred got married, we became buddies, and I'm grateful to have Fred on Fridays, and having Hank and Scott, and now Jonathan and Paul on Thursdays. And we got George Lynch, who has a brand new waterfowl company called Legendary Gear. He's doing Wednesdays. And Michael Lee from Backwoods Life. You know Michael Lee, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Michael Lee and Kevin Knighton. I got Michael Lee on Wednesdays doing the Backwoods Life show. Honestly, I couldn't do it without all of you guys. And I'm very grateful for all of you for helping me out. And it's going well. Everybody's been really, that's listened to it's liked it. So.
And I think one of the coolest things is the phase that pays.
The phrase.
You have all of these things, like you're giving away all kinds of stuff, gift cards and all kinds of crazy stuff constantly.
Outdoors Dan boxer shorts, bobbleheads. Yeah, we got some great prizes, man.
What's better than that?
Yeah,
I mean, I'll take two. I mean, can I buy them?
We got the Larry Mack El Natural calendar. Larry out there with nothing but his bow.
I'm
a little bit worried about it.
Come on, man. Everybody loves Larry Mack.
Oh, we love Larry Mack. No questions about that.
Does that happen? Is that during doe season?
Well, he's kind of partial to sloppy does. So.
Okay. Just clarifying.
There's nothing wrong with sloppy doughs, man.
I love sloppy doughs. If I can't have sloppy doughs at least twice a week, I'm not happy.
That's right.
Especially sloppy dough tacos, man. Those are really
good call.
No, Trev. We do that. We've been doing that on my regular radio shows for years. We do the Outdoors Dan Trivia Challenge, and I just thought, what a better way to get people engaged in the network, do the phrase that pays if they listen. And then if they go to the outdoorcallradio.com, which is my website, you can find my email right there. Just email me your name and address and the phrase that pays. And then every week I draw a name. I just sent a gentleman a $50 gift card to Game High Clothing Friday.
Very nice.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah, we got some great prizes, man. We got we're going to give away a brand new shotgun this year. I've got $50 gift cards to Sportsman's Warehouse, Game High Clothing. We're going to give away a Grizzly cooler. We're giving away a couple Elite bows. I've got a $2,500 camping package we're going to be giving away this summer. I got cookies, barbecue sauce, travel kits. We're going to be giving away. I've got a $3,500 whitetail hunt. Somebody's going to win later in the year and maybe get to go hunt with us on Respect the Game.
I think you tagged that one for me and Trev already.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see.
We can't win. We're part of the Outdoor Call Radio, bud.
Yeah.
So we got Slick Trick Broadhead. I got like $20,000 worth of stuff to give away this year. So
how about the popcorn? Don't you guys have famous popcorn out there?
A lot of popcorn. If you come to Des Moines, Iowa, you got to go up to Ankeny, Iowa, which is like 10 minutes away, and go to Lot of Popcorn. It's awesome. They got like 70 flavors of popcorn.
Jeez.
You did a show there not too long ago, and the flavors were
Chunky Monkey, and they got jalapeno pepper bacon cheddar.
I'm sold.
Yeah, birthday cake. I know that it tastes just like a birthday cake. There's some good stuff, man.
That's crazy. I can't. What is Des Moines totally like? What's the number one famous thing in Des Moines?
Gosh, I don't know. The Iowa State Fair, probably.
Okay.
I mean, they draw well over 1 million folks a year at the fair there, and I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we got the Iowa Cubs, which is the Chicago Cubs AAA affiliate.
Yeah, we went to their stadium and had breakfast last year.
Oh, that's right. We did. Yes.
The Iowa Wild, that's the Minnesota Wild's AAA hockey teams here now. Des Moines it's a great, being from St. Louis, when I go back home, man, St. Louis it's a monster of a city. I mean, I don't know, you guys, you know how you've been in Pittsburgh and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Des Moines is a smaller city.
Yep.
The people are just super nice, and there's just a lot of, you got everything in the world you'd ever want here. So, I mean,
the Deer Classic.
The Iowa Deer Classic coming up next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only experience I have in St. Louis is flying in, waiting on a bus to get to Fort Leonard Wood and looking around going, what's going on in this city?
There's great deer hunting down in Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I was there having to watch it, but couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
You service down there?
Yeah, I went through some training down there and just sitting there watching during deer season. I'm like, this is incredible. This is nuts.
There's some good hunting down in there. Yeah.
So Dan, what do you got coming up for this season? What's the big things that you got going on?
Well, turkey season's coming up. I'll start turkey hunting 1st of April, and then I'll go Kansas, Iowa, and then probably Missouri, and maybe like I said, I'm going to be coming out to Pennsylvania April 9th and 10th at that big outdoor show there in Greenburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be out there doing turkey seminars. I'm looking forward to that. And then maybe when I get back, I might try to shoot and go to Nebraska and get a bird there. It just depends what we need on the shows. So,
mm-hmm. And what's kind of big, or is there anything to come with the Outdoor Call Radio? Like anything that's not really been talked about?
What do you mean?
Like you got anything coming out? Anything new? Anything exciting?
Any surprises?
Anything to look forward to?
You
surprises?
Mean like a big announcement?
No, we don't really need an announcement, but just maybe somebody wants to know something.
Honestly, no. This is only our 8th week. Can you believe that? We've only been on the air 8 weeks.
Well,
really? It seems a lot longer than that.
Well, there was a lot of build up and preparation work.
Yeah, I had to keep pushing the date back because I had to make sure the servers and stuff were working. Mm-hmm. But no, everything's status quo. Mondays are tech talk and turkeys. Tuesdays are Tightline Tuesdays. I've got Aaron Martin with Bass Edge and Jason Mitchell Outdoors. They both do television and radio programs. So those guys are doing all the fishing content. Wednesdays is George and Michael Lee and the guys from Keystone, and then Andrew and I at 5 o'clock. Thursdays is all the cooking with Scotty and Hank, and then now Jonathan and Paul. And Fridays is Food Plot and Fred Eichler Fridays. I've got the guys from Backwoods Attraction, Ben and I. That's a new show that we started 8 weeks ago. And I'll be honest, I'm learning more about food plots than I ever have in my life. What's the type of grasses and lagoons and everything that you would need to put in certain areas. What are no-till? What did you actually have to go put and put stuff in the ground to help? That if you're wanting to know anything about food plots, that show called The Healthy Herd with Ben and I is a great show to listen to. And then everything Eichler with Fred. I mean, what else do you need right there? And then Saturday is like a hodgepodge of all my Outdoors Dan stuff. And then Sunday's a recap where you guys and everybody else, I rotate all the shows on Sunday. If you miss it on whatever your day schedule is, you get a chance on Sundays to hear it again. So
that's awesome. And it can be heard 24 hours a day, 7 days
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's
365 days a year.
How did you even come up with all that?
What do you mean? Well,
how did you come up with the Outdoor Call Radio?
Oh, the Outdoor Call Radio?
Yeah.
I don't know. You mean the name?
No, the program is itself, the app.
Well,
the theory, the background.
From just doing the radio shows I wanted to have a radio station that was totally outdoors driven. And, it just being lucky enough to be a radio host for 25 years, it just kind of came natural to clock it out and, format it, and the rest is history. So
Absolutely. And you've been in the industry forever, so you kind of knew where to go with it, right? So it was
Yeah.
You're taking the traditional radio, this is how it's done, and converting it to a way that the millennials and Gen Z and all of us can actually enjoy it without having to dial it in on a radio.
Yeah, and like you can listen on your Alexa or your iPad or your computer. If you go to theoutdoorcallradio.com, I've got a player on the homepage. You don't even have to download the app. You need to download the app so that way you can take part in the prizes and stuff. But there's a player on there if you just want to listen in the office. The nice thing about it is if you got CarPlay in your vehicle, you can plug your phone right into your CarPlay and listen through your car system. So
Yep.
it's just like it's just like listening to XM or Sirius. It's they've got an app and I've got an app. So but mine's free.
Yeah, you haven't sold out.
No, I looked at it this way. I mean, my partner's on the Saturday show. I own that show, so we're doing good, and we've been doing good for a long time. We've been very blessed, and I just wanted to give back to my fellow outdoors folks, and I wanted to do something that I still loved and had a passion for. Plus, I had a little bit of control, so hopefully I can keep it going for another 10 or 15 years. And I just like I said, technology finally came up with what I wanted to do, and it's been working good so far. I mean, do you guys like it? Have you been listening?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I tune in. Absolutely. I love it. It really is. It's a great. I like the concept of it. I really do. And to get onto it and then to learn about new shows. So then you can leave from there and go and feedback on some of the old shows that you missed out on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a great thing.
It doesn't matter. It all loops. So like you guys, there's Hunting for X's, and then we have the Thunder at Daybreak, and then we have the Outdoor Drive with you guys on Mondays. So I do run partner commercials in between there. We do the Praise of Pace. Have you heard the new liners I did with the turkey calls and the elk bugle?
I haven't caught that one. I'm going to have to check it out.
Gosh, shame on you.
Yep, you got us there.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, folks, there you go. There, tells you right there. Wait till I see him next week. I'm going to get the old beard trimmer out on that boy.
You'll be the third person that tried to do that to me.
Yeah, that's right. I'll have Larry Mack hold you down.
I won't tell you who the first person was that tried to do it. Actually, you know what? I will.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Chris Brackett tried doing that to me, actually. It's kind of funny.
There you go.
Anyway,
no, it's gonna. I'm glad you guys are coming out next week. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Really looking forward to it, honestly. Dan, with you being in the industry for the longest time, I guess it's probably a great question for you. Is what do you think over time, with time watching everything grow? What is something that you would like to see in the industry change?
Well, I think the industry overall is doing really good. 10, 15 years ago, you kept hearing every day that, we're losing hunters every year. They're losing their places to go hunting. They're losing the desire to go. Hunting's dying. And, when the pandemic hit, the only thing that you could feel safe and secure to go do was to get outdoors and go hunting and fishing. So I hate to say this because I think the COVID thing was one of the worst things we've had to endure in our lifetime. But there is a blessing out of it because it got a whole new generation of people into hunting and fishing. So if there was a silver lining, that's probably one of them right there.
I'd have to agree with you because we had over 1 million first-time gun buyers.
Yeah, I mean, you look how many. You go to the store, you couldn't find anything to buy. All the shells were gone. I mean, if you didn't get your gear for hunting season a couple months ahead of time, a lot of folks were out of luck because so many more people were doing it.
And the thing is that, like with the shows, for example, how many people are going to the shows? They're all buying. They're all so indulged in what's going on with the industry and building it back up to where it needs to be.
Well, you guys were just in Harrisburg. I mean, I heard that was shoulder to shoulder, and people were spending money like crazy.
Yeah,
people were running out of products constantly.
Yeah,
our friends from Spy High Mounting System, they ran out of products.
That's good.
The best show that they've ever had, and they go. I say they go to every show, they go to every show. They have 3 crews, and they just bounce around everywhere.
Yeah. So I don't know if I don't know if there's anything that really needs to change. I think things are better, just for the simple fact you got more people out there recreating and hunting and fishing and camping, hiking. There's more products out there than I've ever seen before as far as, new innovations. I just bought an e-bike yesterday. I've got a Polaris, and I was out shed hunting with my dog, and I found 2 or 3 different travel corridors that I didn't know that were there. So and I was talking to Larry Mack. I said, I'm going to go hunt this other property, but I know if I try to ride in there a couple hundred yards with my Polaris from my stand, they're probably going to hear me coming. And as I get older, carrying my camera, my tripod, or my camera arms, my decoys and stuff, it's hard for me to keep carrying all that stuff where I was 30 years ago. So that e-bike, I got me a little trailer to go with it, and I can throw all my gear in there, and I can go set up 10, 15 yards from where I'm going to hunt, and the game is not going to know I'm there. So I think there's so many more innovations out. Look at Onyx. What I wouldn't have gave for Onyx 15, 20 years ago. Right. I'll tell you a real quick story, and I don't know if either of you are going to remember this or not, but this is I told this the other night on the radio, and I had a bunch of people tell me they thought it was awesome. When I first started hunting, one of the things that was out was a little deal called a trail timer. It was a little LCD little block, LCD clock that had string on it. You got one? Does he got one?
I got piles of them. Hold on.
Do you really?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we would go find our trails and look for travel corridors and pinch points and stuff, and then we go take those little trail timers and we put that string across the trail, and then when the deer or whatever something came walking through and pulled that string out, that clock would flash what time that animal came through. There you go.
Do you remember this one? This is an old analog one.
No. See, the ones I'm talking about, Trevor, about the size of a credit card.
These ones.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
These are the originals. They had the actual ticking clock inside of them, and they would do the same thing.
I haven't seen one of them in years.
Yeah, but, and this was that's how I was when I was a kid. That's what I grew up around was the trail timers. Sorry.
Yeah, you were so excited. Hey, at 3:49 p.m. there was something right at my stand. Mm-hmm. And now you fast forward today where you go and you look at your phone and you got trail cam pics zooming right to your phone as they happen. I mean, technology is amazing. The bows, I'm going to brag on Elite a little bit here in full transparency. They're one of my partners, and I work for Elite with the Outdoor Group because they own Respect the Game TV. But the bows compared to when I started, like talking about the old cables and 45-inch long bows to the bows that we have now, you can shoot a shorter axle, longer brace height bow and not have to shoot 75, 80 pounds. You can shoot. I got my bow cranked all the way down to 58 pounds now. With the way they're engineered now, you don't have to shoot all that poundage to get the penetration and the foot pounds that you did 20, 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think technology is amazing now.
It's incredible. And some of my fondest memories are going out and checking trail cameras. Yeah. I mean, trail timers. I remember it like it was yesterday. My dad would bring us out.
What that is, Trev, honestly. Because a lot of folks don't.
No, and they really don't. And see, I have like a little collectibles like cabinet in the man cave, and it's got all kinds of stuff. I have the original Thunderheads and still in the packet. I mean, I collect all that. I'll see it in little, like at like tag sales and stuff, and I always have to buy it.
That's good. That's awesome, man.
I'm what built us.
Yeah, I've got my own little corner of old stuff too. It's hard to get rid of it, because it's so much. It's part of you,
But it's a memory, and you get a lot of people that come down into the studio or whatever, and they're like, "What is that? Like, that's so cool." And I'm like, "How do you not know what a trail timer is? Like, come on, dude! Like, that's what we always used to do." But who knows? It could have been a squirrel that set that thing off, a raccoon. Who knew? Like,
I have no idea. It could have been Bigfoot.
It was just cool, right? So
absolutely. So we got about 10 minutes left. You guys want to ask me some turkey stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. What would you like us to ask you, Dan?
It's your show. I'm just here hanging out, drinking my pop.
Pop. That's a Midwest thing, huh?
Well, back home we call it soda, but when I moved up to Iowa, it was pop. So because if I asked for a soda, they looked at me like, "What are you talking about?"
Then what happens when you start to come east? What do they call it out here, Steven?
Pap.
Pap?
You get that Northeast and you get that pap.
No, it's really not. But we figured it'd be funny, right?
Throw that
So-
New England accent into pop.
So what are you doing? I'm going to go park my car in the yard.
the harbor yard. It's the harbor yard, Dan.
Yeah.
Harbor yard.
Yeah.
So Dan, why don't you take us through a hunt of yours, like a turkey hunt? Like, what do you do in the morning, or do you have them pre-roosted? What kind of guy are you? Are you run and gun?
Well, I bow hunt everything, so I've got to set up because I'm filming it. So I've
Okay.
always got a ground blind. So what I'll usually do is I pretty much hunt the same areas every year. I kind of know where those birds are going to be roosted at. So I'll get out there the night before and I'll run an owl hooter. If it's in the mid-afternoon, I'll use a crow call and, see if I can get them to fire off. And then once I know where they're at, I'll go ahead and set up. And then what I'll do is historically, I like to put 3 deeks out, and I always set my deeks out about 10 to 12 yards. So I use a jake. I'll use a posturing jake or a strutting jake, and then I'll use a feeding hen and a semi-alert hen or a leading hen. And I'll make a little triangle. I'll put the jake at the apex, and then I'll put the hens closer to the blind. And then I'll wait until the next morning. I try to get out about 45, 50 minutes before it starts cracking. And so I want to hear those first birds waking up, making those tree calls and then gobbles. And then it just depends how close they are. If they're pretty close, I won't usually call until I hear them fly down. If they're about 150, 175 yards away, I'll go ahead and I'll just start doing some excited yelp or, soft yelps first, and then I'll do some exciting yelps. And then once I hear them fly down, I'll call a few times. And then once they answer me, they'll gobble. I'll shut up for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'll hit them again. I'll usually start out with 3 or 4 yelps, and then I'll do a couple clucks, and then I'll do 3 or 4 or 5 yelps. And then if they gobble, I'll wait a few minutes and do it again. One of the mistakes that I was doing when I first started, the reason I wasn't successful, I was calling way too often and way too loud. And honestly, folks, turkeys will make anywhere from 26 to 28 different vocalizations. You don't have to know all those. If you can learn to yelp, cluck, and purr, and do an excited yelp, that's really only calls you really need to know to be successful. I love using a friction call or a slate call and a box call. Those are my 2 go-tos. I'll use a mouth call. I suck at mouth calling. I do. I sound like a wounded seal out there. But I can yelp and cluck with a mouth call now. Where when I first started, I couldn't hardly do it very well. But when the birds are 80, 85, 75 yards, I'll put that diaphragm call in case I need to do a little something like that. Because I don't have time to take the call, put it down, grab the camera and my bow. But that's usually the calling sequences. If they're out there and they've got hens with them, I'll try and try to be the sexiest hen in the woods. I'll do excited yelping, and I'll start cutting a little bit and see if I can get them to pull away or get one of the other toms to pull away. But most of the time, I try to do a little more. My philosophy is less is more. If you just be patient and take your time. And like I said, I've shot 90 birds as of last spring with my bow, and I would say probably 75 to 80% of those birds have been between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
Yep.
If you're just patient, if they got hens with them, it's hard to compete with the real thing. If they got hens with them, let them do their thing in the morning, and then about 9:30, 10 o'clock, if you can just be patient, those birds are going to start wandering off and looking for new girlfriends or new opportunities. And you can find them a little easier to call. Or if you got little kids, or if you're not a very patient person, instead of getting up at 4:30, sleep in until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then just ease into your blind, and then let everything settle down for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then start calling. And you should be pretty good. I mean, that 10 to 2 is magic, man. That's a great time to call a gobbler in.
I think I've killed 90% of my birds in that time. Not that I've killed a lot, but
Yeah.
10 to 2 is that's definitely a killer time.
Yeah, that's magic time. Yeah, that gives me time to get my Diet Mountain Dew out, or my Mountain Dew Zero and my Pop-Tart, and have my breakfast, and I'm ready to rock.
Nothing wrong with that. Well,
Yeah.
Dan, why don't we wrap this thing up? Why don't you tell us what drives you outdoors, Dan?
What drives me outdoors? Honestly, I just think it's probably just being out there and seeing nature unvolve around me, and every time the sun comes up in the morning to when the sun sets. I mean, I just see so many things out there that every time I go out, I learn something, and it's not the successes so much that drives me; it's the failures, because I still mess up it just like everybody else, and when you mess up, it puts a burr under you to get back out there the next day and resolve the situation. So I would think that's what drives me. That, and I like to eat.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think that's the most important thing, right? So what drives you outdoors is your stomach then.
Yeah.
See, and that's one more upside to turkey season is if you don't get the turkey, you can still get the morels, you can still get the asparagus. You know, there's still food to be had.
There's the trinity of the spring: crappie, mushrooms, and turkeys. There's your,
Yes.
Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That, and I just want to make sure Larry Mack's proud of me.
You know, something that's kind of crazy, and you guys, the Midwesterners, think it's absolutely asinine, but we don't do a lot of crappie fishing up here. Pan fishing is not a thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's certain parts of the Midwest that, you know, crappies aren't that big. It's, you know, you go up to Minnesota or Wisconsin, everybody's after the walleye and the sauger. And I love walleye. Don't get me wrong, but man, you can catch some monster crappies up in Minnesota. So that's all
We
right.
have a monster here, but nobody targets them. So
Yeah,
it's great.
you know,
You find a good hole of them.
That's just more for the I don't know. You guys got so many things out there. You got snakeheads and burbits, and I can't keep track of what all you got out there to fish for.
There's
You
something
never
new
know.
every year.
Yeah.
Don't go to the ocean.
Yeah.
So now, wait, before we close real quick now, are you guys flying in next week? Are you coming in?
Yes, sir. I will definitely 100% be there.
Yeah. Steve, you're not coming?
I will probably not be able to. I just had to front the bill for the seed for the property, and that kind of wiped out my plane tickets. So,
I mean, how's that going to be when the face of the outdoor drive's not coming?
what do you mean?
know?
He's already there. I'm just the
What are you
producer.
talking about?
I'm the producer.
Wait a minute, I thought you were the face of the deal. I
No,
thought
no,
Trevor
see,
was
I've got
behind the scenes guy.
I have the premier face for radio.
No, that's my line. You can't steal that. And I'm only teasing, folks. Trevor's the man. You know, East Coast Trev, right? I've known him as East Coast Trev forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that was the plan, but the seed bill come up, and we're getting everything set up on a new 100 acres, and I figured I better make the investment down there so hunting season's decent.
Well, that's all right. You guys are going to have to come out to Iowa and hunt with us sometime.
Well, more than
We've been
happy
putting
to.
in for the tags, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I want to go so bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the only thing about Iowa. It takes you about 4 or 5 years to draw. So
Mhm.
Yep.
be
Especially
patient.
the zone, yeah.
We're patient. I grew up in Arizona putting in for elk, so I got
Oh, yeah.
patient for tags.
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me on. It was an honor that you even asked. So thank you very much for doing that.
Oh,
No,
it's
thank you for everything you do for us, Dan.
the least we could do. Before we cut off real quick, though, where can everybody find you once again? How can they get the show, and where can they get a hold of you?
If they want to hear the Outdoor Call Radio Network, you just go to iTunes, Google Play, or Alexa, and just look up the Outdoor Call Radio app, and it's free. Just download it, and then you can just punch it in and listen. If you want more information about other stuff, just go to theoutdoorcallradio.com. That's the website, and that's got the schedule, and you can find the outdoor, like you guys, the Outdoor Drive. Just click on your link on your logo, and it goes right to your website. You can also find me on Facebook under Outdoors Dan or Dan Young, Instagram, and I believe the Twitter thing or whatever that's called.
Yeah, you got me. That's Trev's realm. I let him deal with that.
I don't even know what that
What is
is.
that? Bleeder? Tweeter? What is what's it?
Twit. Yeah, twitting. I don't twit. I don't tweet. I don't tweet.
Sheep shit.
That is sheep shit.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the only way my grandma can follow me. You be nice.
Okay, sorry.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
You
enough.
tell Nana you're sorry, Trevor.
I'm sorry, Nana.
Outstanding. Well, Dan, we appreciate you jumping on here, and not only for jumping on, but for sharing us through your platform. It's a really wonderful situation. So everybody listening, if you like what we're doing here and you want to hear more like-minded content in all the different realms, make sure you go over and check this out. Get online, download the app. That is very important in this situation. And from there, just turn it on and let her rip.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys, and I appreciate the partnership as well. Thank you.
No problem, guys. Appreciate everything, and until then, we want to thank you for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.